Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm going to be testing Crimson Desert on Steam Deck thanks to Pearl Abyss for providing a code of the game. So, sorry I'm late for this one, it released last week, but I was in my remote full-time job, but now in an office, we do that once a year, so my hands were tied, but here I am, I'm back. So well, I played half an hour of this on Steam Deck already. It doesn't have a compatibility badge thing from Valve as of yet, but I wanted to check it out anyway. This looks fantastic, at least on trailers. I haven't tried it on PC yet, but I wanted to show you what it runs and looks like on Steam Deck. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to see is compiling shaders. That's great. It's faster than before when I tried it on day one. That's probably because there were no precompiled shaders to speak of. And in settings, the first time that I opened the game on Steam Deck, what I saw was that it was on high settings, and I was like, what? This doesn't make sense. So for upscaling, we got no upscaling or FSR 3.1, and it looks very, very blocky, very blocky. It's very blocky. There's FrameGen as well. I recommend using outside help for FrameGen. And for resolution, 800p, so performance upscaling is basically 400p, so let's apply it. And make sure when you're changing settings that you don't accidentally choose 4K. Sometimes it did it like that, and my UI was all small and the game crashed. So make sure it is like this when you first open it. When it comes to graphics, you got minimum, low, medium, high, ultra, and cinematic. Funnily enough, the game by default was like this. I don't know, whatever. Let's go to the lowest, to the minimum right away. As you can see, everything is on the absolute lowest. Because again, if you look at what the game offers, at least when it comes to draw distances and all that, I honestly don't expect the Steam Deck to be playable. But as you can see, after I changed the preset, if I go back to video, it puts itself at 4K. So make sure if you change the graphics, go back to this menu and choose the correct resolution. That's weird, it did it on the Steam Deck the first day. I thought it was fixed, but apparently not. Thing that I forgot to mention that you might miss, if you go to accessibility, you can change the camera shake, which I really don't like on games, and the particle effects quality, so this affects performance. Same goes with the blur intensity. So I put this on 0 to maximize performance and minimize motion sickness. I want to thank Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Instant Gaming is a website to get cheaper games for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. You can find a lot of games, including the one we're playing today, Crimson Desert, for $65.87 US. So at this point, I guess it's better to just get the deluxe edition, or games that are not out yet, such as Life is Strange Reunion, Forza Horizon 6 Premium Edition, or 007 First Light with Early Access. Coming from the games that I enjoyed the most, I'd say Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Hogwarts Legacy, and Shadow of War are the best ones out here when it comes to pricing, so check them out in the description below. And every month we're doing a giveaway for one of you guys for a game of your choice on Instant Gaming, so hit participate, follow myself and Instant Gaming in social media for more chances. And thanks again to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Let's continue. Okay, so here it goes. It showed my character. It's a pixelated mess, but this is just the loading screen. Animus Assassin's Creed style. Okay, here it goes. We're into the game. Welcome to Crimson Desert. And well, I think you understand what I'm talking about when I'm saying that the upscaler is a flickery mess. I mean, if you didn't notice already, please assuming a little bit. But personally, with FSR 3, even on quality, this is performance, obviously, but even with quality upscaling, it looks terrible. I mean, I think this is one of those games that you either play without upscaling or with some cool DLSS magical upscaling technique, because the flickering is horrendous. So before we do anything else, let's increase performance a tiny bit. The last resort that we have here is to put it at 720 instead of 800p, so we lose a few pixels, black bars, top and bottom of the screen. But at least we can get a few extra frames, as you can see there. And well, again, even if the screen on Steam Deck is super small, this is still a big flickery mess.
Let's set off.
And well, by going to the lowest settings like this, it still doesn't maintain 30s across the board. If I apply quality upscaling, it did get better, but it still flickers like a mother fluffer, as you can see. The only real option to make the game look decent is to actually put it at native, but native wrecks the Steam Deck. But again, quality upscaling, while a much higher resolution, is still super effing flickery. Native 720, unfortunately we cannot go below 720, that's the lowest it can go. And the image is significantly better, but the performance is significantly worse, so... I mean, I think the upscaling should get work into it, because the upscaling is just a pixelated mess, no matter what I did. At least FSR 3.1, it looks horrible in this game. Native, as you can see, looks significantly better, but significantly better in a way that, yeah, the trees flicker and stuff, all the small details, but not as much as with FSR 3. FSR 3 is like if you put some grainy old TV effect on top of every small detail, like the plants and the shadows. Okay, so back into performance upscaling. As you can see, yeah, it's just a flickery mess, unfortunately. I think if they patch that in, like, I don't know, maybe XeSS, or maybe, I don't know, a better way to do FSR. We're here at the start of the game. It makes it for a better test, I think, at least for effects. Not only CPU stuff. And, well, this is, again, the very beginning. You can fast forward the cutscenes, which is awesome to see. But again, even if I put FSR quality, as you could see in daytime, edges were a mess. Well, here's no different, especially considering that there's a lot of moving stuff on screen across the board. There's the birds, there's all the foliage moving around. I mean, the game has a lot of good simulation stuff going on, at least when it comes to the environments. But let's keep a little bit more ahead. So here we go. First combat scenario. It has a good amount of characters on screen. It has that fire on screen as well, so a good amount of effects. And as you can see here, we're even more GPU limited than before. By the way, you can also zoom into your character for the camera. Instead of being super far away, it can be closer. But again, here we're at the lowest possible settings and fast forwarding this cutscene, that's why it looks sped up. But apart from the artifacts, just because everything is a pixelated mess, not pixelated, I would say chunky mess, especially, yeah, everything that has to do with transparencies. You basically get the absolute lowest settings with the absolutely lowest resolution possible. And yeah, I don't think it's worth playing on Steam Deck, at least not right now. Maybe in the future, who knows, maybe. I wasn't expecting it to work on Steam Deck at all, actually. Especially considering this is not like a UE5 game. Usually that engine at least lets you launch the game, despite the bad performance. But here being a custom engine from them, looking at all the technology, I was like, okay, no way this even launches. But it actually does launch, and it uses less VRAM than I expected. And less RAM than I expected. But what bothers me the most is just the image quality using upscaling. I mean, if with FSR we had a little bit better image quality, maybe, I don't know, the foliage and the hair didn't look that pixelated and chunky. It's just so distracting, same thing with the shadows. It just doesn't even look like it's being upscaled correctly. I don't know, it's just not a good upscaler. Definitely. Very poor quality FSR 3. FSR 3 is not great at all, generally speaking. But, I mean, in this game it's next level. It's like playing with ultra performance upscaling, but at a higher resolution. Which is not a good thing. What am I trying to say? Personally, I wasn't expecting the game to even launch on Steam Deck. That's the first thing. And the second thing, I mean, I wasn't expecting good performance in general. It just excites me that we can get borderline 30s at this on a Steam Deck, even if it's 400p, which is UE5 levels of resolution. But I just wish the quality of the upscaling itself was better. I think that's totally doable. Seems to be an issue with this game, especially, because I've seen a lot of people complaining about image quality using upscaling, unless they're using ray reconstruction. When that happens, you're usually playing with ultra ray tracing. So you either play on ultra or you play with horrible edges. That's what I've seen on the internet. I have to play it on PC myself still, on my higher-end computer. But at least when it comes to the Steam Deck, again, I was expecting the game not to launch at all, but as soon as something intensive happens, just look at the performance. And there's going to be more characters on screen later, there's going to be stuff into the distance, so I wouldn't recommend it right now. In the future, if this improves, obviously, I'll be here to tell you about it. The game looks cool, but again, I cannot recommend it on Steam Deck, especially not only because of the performance, but because of how bad it resolves with upscaling. Unless you're playing on native, it doesn't make sense when it comes to image quality. But again, expected when it comes to Steam Deck, I was expecting worse, so that surprised me. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys, thanks for watching.